Well, good evening, Drew, and everyone out there, and welcome to the Moviegoers Society podcast brought to you by Nerdtropolis, where movie meets magic and pure fandom. And I am your host, Sean Toshbor, the mayor of Nerdtropolis. And joining me, like always, is my partner in popcorn, Drew Munhausen, the professional media and movie mastermind, who I know is still getting over that intro that he did not have no clue about. And I just put out.
I knew there was going to be a new one, but I was not expecting the pan flute that was making me want to do a little jig and how Minecraft appropriate it was. That was great. That caught me off guard in a good way.
I told you I was working on something new, and that's what I came up with.
Incredible stuff. I love it.
That's how you work her. Yes, together, Drew and I break down the biggest blockbusters, dive into the latest cinematic surprises, and ask the tough questions like tonight, like, is Minecraft the best video game movie ever? But before we hit the nether, talk creepers, pickaxes, and obviously Jack Black, we got some things to go over that I want to bring up. I want to do show and tell, Drew. Remember good old days in school about show and tell?
Of course, I have a young child who does show and tell at her daycare. I'm very familiar with show and tell.
I do want to do some show and tell before we jump into our Moviegoers Society podcast fully. Real quick, I've never seen this show, Drew. I think maybe you have, but I'm excited that they sent me the complete series, and that is Shameless. Have you watched that?
I have not. I have friends that have watched it and I've heard good things about it, but I have not.
So very interesting that this went on for 11 seasons and I never caught a single episode. That is just wild.
I didn't realize it had 11 seasons.
Yeah. So the first one, season 1 to 6 in this one, and then 7-11, my birthday right there in the second box set. Yeah, great cast. Really interesting story. I hear a lot of great things about it. So I know the people that do love Shameless, it is now the complete series is available on DVD. And for those that never seen it like myself, pretty good get right there to start binging on that. Also, my good friends at Jada Toys, who make incredible die-cast cars, other action figures, a bunch of cool things, RC-based things. They have some great licenses over there. Before I show the big license here, as a car guy myself, they have some really cool stuff. They're introducing the Pink Slips edition. So they have something like this 1970 Ford Mustang right there. Very cool.
Slick.
Yeah, very cool two-tone with the silver and green. Then we have, this is pretty cool. It's actually a 67 Toyota 2000 GT. Very cool car, you know, for the JDM people out there that love those types of vehicles. Then they sent me this really awesome Lamborghini. I love that blue right there. But
that's awesome.
What's really cool about this Pink Slips series is you're going to get things that you don't really think of. And as I put these down, they sent me a very, very pink Ecto 1.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Check that out. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fun, I must say.
Like hot. It's almost like a magenta.
Yes. It is awesome. I love it. It's a new way to celebrate the Ecto 1. So these Pink Slip series from them is really a new thing they're trying to do and really cool. So I appreciate the people at Jada. Great folks over there for sending this to me. So, you know, I'm a car guy as well as a nerd. So really excited for that stuff. And then you also, like we just did, Shameless, the complete series now available. Also, Drew, I mentioned this. I've done panels for Superhero Comic Con and Space Con, and they just are coming back with Space Con this year. And they have announced, let me see if I get this going. Where is it? Jumping ahead a little bit. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. There we go. Okay. Space Con San Antonio coming October 24th, 25th, and 26th. And they've already announced Can you believe they've already announced like 25 guests
This is
at
for
least?
Houston's Comic Palooza is like just now doing a lot of its unveiling of who the guests are going to be, and that's much sooner. So it's kind of crazy that SpaceCon is getting their guests lined up so far in advance.
25 guests already, and they're not done. I'm gonna go through some of many. So Casper Van Dien is coming. We have Denise Richards, Michael Ironside, and all three of them together make obviously the Starship Troopers reunion right
Indeed.
there. So that's super excited. I'm really excited for Casper. Interviewed him a couple times. Awesome dude, good friend now, and I think that's gonna be a great panel. They're doing Daredevil at SpaceCon. It's Spacey. We're just call it Spacey, but Charlie Cox will be attending, which is super awesome. That's super exciting. And they'll have some more Daredevil folks coming out there. This one really excited me as well. Patrick Warburton.
Nice.
He is awesome. I love the Tick. His Tick was like my favorite growing up, I will tell you. Drew, X-File fan?
Of course.
Well, there you go. David Duchovny is coming to SpaceCon. This is super exciting. He doesn't really do these. He doesn't. I don't think he does. This might be his first one. I don't know. This is pretty wild. So I'm excited for that as well. And Adrian Palicki. I love the Orville. I'm telling you, the Orville is such an underrated show, and it's perfect for SpaceCon. And
The
obviously,
thing that I'm most familiar with her from, you do not have listed here, which is the show Friday Night Lights.
well, yeah, that's true. She's been in a lot of things. She's amazing, and obviously, she was part of that Wonder Woman.
I was going to say she was supposed to be the Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman TV show.
Yeah, which
You can find pictures out there of her in the Wonder Woman garb and everything.
yeah, and I mean that's an interesting story itself. But can you believe it? That's so far the lineup for SpaceCon. I think that is pretty legit so far, and they're just getting started.
That's a good lineup, and it's early.
It is. Like I said before, we get into Minecraft, we want to talk about A Working Man, which is a film that Drew finally got to see. Right? When did you see this one?
I saw it on Friday.
Okay. And it stars the one and only Jason Statham. So Drew, we're both a sucker for like a Jason Statham movie, right? We love Jason Statham, right?
I had a metaphor for this, which is why you had already seen this and reviewed it for Nerdtropolis. I know this movie. I mean, right now it's number 2 at the box office, so it's not like it's old hat at this point. Like people are still going to see it. Significantly less people going to see it than went to see Minecraft, but still, that's a different story. But here is the thing: when I walked out of A Working Man, I had this metaphor, right? It's like when I want McDonald's, I'm not expecting a healthy meal. I'm not expecting great quality, high quality food. I go in because I want a Big Mac. No, in this case, I don't even want I want a quarter pounder with cheese. That's what I want. And when I go see a Jason Statham action movie like this, I'm getting that quarter pounder with cheese. I'm getting exactly what I went there to get. I'm getting exactly what I wanted. It might not be fine dining, but I'm getting what I wanted, and it's consistent. And that is how I feel about these kinds of Jason Statham movies. This one's directed by David Ayer, who, they just did The Beekeeper last year. This one's significantly less silly than The Beekeeper is, but it's still...
Is it though? Is it though? Well, first off, this is a team up between David Ayer and Sylvester Stallone, who wrote the script.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this and I knew Stallone was part of the script, I was like, this seems like this was written for Stallone way back in the day.
I was going to say, surely Stallone worked on this with the original intention of starring in it, and then somewhere along the line that changed. I don't know that for sure, but it'd just be an assumption.
It just felt like that, which is it's not a bad thing. There's tons of action, there's brutal fights, and of course Statham doing what he does best. And for me, honestly, Drew, the action did deliver, but some of the dialogue the dialogue though was cheesy, and some of the storyline was interesting, but I was there for it. I was all in. But what did you think about the supporting cast in this one? Like Michael Pena's in this and David Harbour, and they kind of felt like they're like phoning it in. And did it work for you, or was it just like the Jason Statham show all the way?
To me, this felt like they were, doing a favor for a friend, as they both have a history of working with David Ayer. You know, Michael Pena was in End of Watch, and David Harbour, if I remember correctly, is in Suicide Squad. It was before, it was like a pre Stranger Things, or maybe after the first season of Stranger Things had aired, David Harbour role. And so, I mean, like, they've worked together before. So it just seemed like kind of some frequent collaborators stepping in for a part. Michael Pena was fine. He's a distressed dad who doesn't have a big part. The David Harbour part was a little bit more interesting. He shows up at the beginning, and then we got a good ways in the movie. I was like, was that it? Like, is that all we got of David Harbour? But he does come back for the latter half of the movie. I enjoyed his role a lot, but otherwise, most of the people were not people that I recognized.
Yeah, but I thought Michael Pena was just there to get a paycheck. That was a weird performance from him. I thought that was a little off for me.
It just seemed a little bit lesser for him. Like, you know,
Right.
he can do better. Like, that's why I'm like, well, he's worked with David Ayer before. Because he was in Fury also. I forgot End of Watch and Fury, so they've worked together multiple times.
Yeah, so that was interesting for the supporting cast, but Jason Statham, I mean, I can watch him do anything. The movie did feel pretty long, so I kind of got bored midway through. But it's a lot of fun. Like when it's Jason Statham, and you can't go wrong with that. Like all in, anything he does, I will watch. And we don't get enough of him, I feel like. We need more frequency of Jason Statham. Do you agree?
Yeah, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, we're basically consistently getting a Jason Statham action movie like this, one per year at least. So I feel like it's good. I did enjoy this. I don't feel like it was great or amazing or anything, but it's like it's exactly what I wanted when I went into it. So that's my review.
It's worth a watch, and it's doing pretty well at the box office. That's a very busy box office. And speaking of wild box office, uh, there's this movie. I don't know if y'all have heard it. It's called Minecraft. I think it's based on a video game.
You think?
Yeah. So time to trade our hammers for our pickaxes. It's Minecraft time. This movie, honestly, I was not expecting much. I've never played Minecraft in my life. I knew there were some blocks, some mobs, a pig or two, and that's about it. But this movie really pulled me right in
So
from
you
the
don't know
get-go.
anything about like the mechanics of Minecraft and how it works when you're playing it.
No, but I have the feeling that I will be downloading it soon. What I really loved about this in the beginning is kind of, we were taught you about the world of Minecraft in the beginning, just a tad. It gave you a little bit where it's like how it kind of works, but without really knowing much. When they were laying down the groundwork with kind of showing Steve and going into that world and kind of just showing us before we dive into the plot. Like there wasn't no plot in the beginning. It was just kind of like an overview of what was going on. And that's what I really liked about it. But Drew, you've played Minecraft, right?
I have, but not much. I've dabbled in it. So I hopped on Minecraft way back when it very first released. So I'm actually looking this up to see when when it was released in like original. So I'm seeing November of 2011, which was its like official release. Because I for sure was playing this earlier in 2011 in like a beta version that you had to pay to sign up for on when it was only on PC. And this was because I was a senior in college. I had some friends playing it. I think a friend of mine had like his own server for the game, and so we joined it. It was only on PC at the time, and the game did not give you any instructions, right? It was like you were dumped into the overworld, your little like kind of, you know, generic little avatar, and you're like, okay, yeah, there's some chickens, there's some animals around, and you go around, you just start punching trees. And then when you collect some wood, you can eventually craft a crafting table, and then you collect, you use your wood to build a pickaxe, and then you start using your wooden pickaxe and try to get better materials so that you can get better versions of the tools you're already making. And so like that's kind of my basic understanding of it. And then as you see in the movie, when it becomes night, it's like you better get some shelter because all the little zombies are going to come out and try to get you. And then once night passes, you're free to explore again. And there is a lot of lore and things that they've added to the game over the years, but I really only dabbled with it when it very first came out, and that's it. And I think that it was really the generation younger than us that really attached to this game. I have a niece who I remember one year, this had to be like 6 or 7 years ago, if not more, but she was playing it like a family function on an iPad. And they have like creator builder modes now, right? Where you have like infinite materials and you just build whatever you want. She had built the most insane structures I'd ever seen, like extremely competent, amazing structures for my young niece, to be building. And I remember thinking like, I am old. Like this it made me feel like that, one of the few games made me feel like I am old. This is one of those things that I was a little too old when it came out. I did not connect with it. But I have played with it. I have played the game and I know a bit about it.
Well, let's talk. Let's see if I get this rolling. Let's talk Jack Black as Steve. I thought this was great casting, even though Jack Black is being Jack Black. It just somehow worked. He brought personality to Steve in his own way, adding those musical numbers, some of that rock and roll edge at the same time. And it's made this character that I didn't know about. I know everyone else knows about Steve, and I really liked it. I just really liked him as Steve. I thought it really worked, bringing him as himself pretty much in this role. I think originally they said he was not supposed to play Steve. He was supposed to play some really minor character or voice a character, and then decided just to make him Steve for whatever reason. And it seemed to have worked. So what did you think about Jack Black as Steve?
I mean, he's doing the Jack Black thing, which I enjoy. I've seen some internet discourse about like having too much Jack Black right now out there, and I really don't feel that way. But then I'm looking at his filmography, and I don't think I've seen him appear in a live action movie. I didn't see Dear Santa that came out at the end of last year. And then a lot of his recent performances are voice performances. Borderlands, he was a voice. Kung Fu Panda 4, he's a voice of Poe. Super Mario Brothers. The last movie that I saw that he was in was Weird, the Al Yankovic movie, which I don't even remember him being in that. But then before that, it was Jumanji, The Next Level, which of course, he's one of the main cast members of the new kind of take on Jumanji. So anytime Jack Black's in a movie, I want him to do his thing, and that usually makes me happy. And here he is doing his thing. It's like kind of weird comedy. It's a kid's movie. He's having a good time. He's being silly. I enjoy that. So he did exactly what I expected.
And to see, we've had this conversation before. There's a bunch of actors where we kind of get tired of, or they're in the same type of role and they're just doing the same thing every single time. Jack Black doesn't really, to me, he doesn't seem like he's doing the same exact thing every single time. But I think his personality and his Hollywood character is very lovable and enjoyable and entertaining. And
he
it's
knows how to like turn it on and off. Yeah. Or up and down, I should say, for his audience.
And it's not copy and paste every time what he does. It's always, he changes it up quite a bit. Especially when you go back to Super Mario, his Bowser is awesome. I think he was great as Bowser. It made sense. And he changed it up quite a bit for that. And I saw something a little bit different in this one. I can't really put my finger on it, but he's worked with Jared Hess in the past, obviously with Nacho Libre.
Right.
And the humor from Nacho Libre and Napoleon Dynamite that's sprinkled throughout this movie totally works as Jack Black. And then Emmanuel said Jack Black was Wolfman in that Weird Al, Wolfman Jack in that Weird Al biopic, I guess you can call it.
Okay. Yeah.
But as you see here with Steve, I gotta say that Jason Momoa as Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison stole the movie for me. This whole like macho man look that he has going on in the persona. Absolutely loved it. The story's awesome that it really is present day, but we're stuck in the 80s still, because we're in this small town that seems to like not that isn't up to date with modern times in a lot of ways. But I love Jason Momoa as this. He's not trying to be well, he's trying really hard to be the cool guy, the tough guy, but he ends up being the comic relief, the goofball. And honestly, I love every single second of it. His butt getting kicked throughout. Um, Jason Momoa is usually the hero, right, or the bad guy, the tough guy. But seeing him in this type of movie and seeing him interact with Jack Black and them bouncing off each other, I can definitely watch just a whole movie just them two together. It was so much fun. So, Drew, did the Momoa performance surprise you? And do you think we'll get him to return for more in Minecraft 2?
It's interesting because now as we're doing this live, I feel like I'm kind of trying to come to grips with my feelings on Jason Momoa in general right now, because obviously he was such a presence way back when on Game of Thrones, when he was Khal Drogo, and a role that I really enjoyed. And then when he got cast as Aquaman, I remember thinking that was very inspired casting, and kind of an interesting swerve from what we would have expected from the Aquaman character. And obviously we know at least the first Aquaman movie in particular is very financially successful. And I actually liked him in the role of Arthur Curry in Aquaman more than I expected to. So we know he can kind of be, the buff badass who maybe has a drinking problem or maybe has some sort of problem, whatever it may be. In Dune, he's Duncan Idaho, and he's like a warrior. Like he plays a lot of warrior type characters. And when he diverged from that in Fast X and played this like kind of flamboyant villain, like trying to be more comedic, it didn't really work for me in that movie. Like I didn't really enjoy him in
As
that.
Dante?
Yeah, but I did enjoy him in this movie. There's something about like the thinking he's badass, but also this mixed with self-deprecating humor that I really appreciated because it did feel self-aware. I did like it. I think he was a fun presence in this movie overall.
Yeah, I was really surprised. And the fact that he can kind of poke fun of himself and, not be the hard guy people think he is really was what sold me for this movie. Let's talk about the ensemble, which was really surprising at the same time, a good surprising too. I thought the rest of the cast that we have in here did a really great job. I thought it was an interesting dynamic between everybody, but I thought everyone brought tons of heart, tons of fun, tons of humor as well. I'll tell you this, everyone hyping up Jennifer Coolidge in this movie. Her role was so small that I was shocked how much people were trying to hype her involvement in this up. Fun little side character, barely in it. But really, these are the
Purely
stars of the movie
comedic
right here.
relief. It's like she's purely there to give you like anytime the movie just needs a break from the overworld. It's like we'll give you a little bit of Jennifer Coolidge, which I'm here for.
I'm here for it, but I think they hyped up like how much she's part of the plot per se. She's just a little side story that appears. But like I said, here's the cast right here, which I really love. I really like Sebastian Hansen. He is really unknown, and I thought, it's hard when you bring these young kids in. Sometimes they can sell it and do it, and sometimes you just like, I don't know about this. I thought he did a really great job, and I really think Emma Myers and Daniel Brooks were a really good kind of duo together as well. Um, Even though they kind of had their own little side quest at some point, um, they really partnered with them pretty well, and I thought it worked out. Was there anyone in the supporting cast, Drew, that really stood out to you other than Jennifer Coolidge and her love story?
I thought the kids were fine. Emma Myers, I think I know from Wednesday. Is that right? Yeah,
Right.
from Wednesday. That's all right. And then the young male lead, Sebastian Hansen, as you mentioned, was distracting to me because he looked to me, I thought had an uncanny resemblance to like a young Dustin Diamond. And so he just looked so much like a young Screech Powers from Saved by the Bell to the point that it was distracting for me. I thought he was fine. Neither of the kids really stuck out that much to me. I like Danielle Brooks in general. I think of her from Peacemaker and her role there, and she was nominated for an Oscar last year for the musical version of The Color Purple. So like I enjoy her as a performer. I felt like she had the least to do in this movie. Like she was the least essential probably of the three leads, which is a shame, but when you're working against Jack Black and Jason Momoa, who are huge personalities, like when there's a third of the trio, somebody's going to be probably overshadowed by those two. And unfortunately, it was her.
With this cast, very diverse and really just it worked. For me, I kind of loved the story. It kind of how everyone just came together was so random, but it worked. But let's talk visuals. Like I said, I'm new to Minecraft, but this world looks like a blast, and I want to be in it. In some capacity, it is a dangerous place at the end of the day too. But what was really cool, everything was, there's bright colors, there's quirky creatures, but everything when I saw behind the scenes stuff was really built out. A lot of stuff was actually real, which was really surprising to me. I know my friends that did the junket, they're like, yeah, everything was still there. And it's like you're in the movie. It's just wild. Everything from the props into some of um, the characters are people in suits, which is wild. I saw some behind the scenes stuff with people actually in suits for some of the creature designs. For the villagers, I think the villagers were real people walking around, which is just wild to me. Uh, and shout out to Jared Hess, who I got to talk to for his Netflix movie, Thumb of the Unicorn, and asked him about, working with Jack Black again and what can we expect. And you'll catch like his humor in this, that Jared Hess humor throughout. And with all this like fun visuals, it's a great combination. But I'm just looking at some of this, I'm like, I think this looks great. Like, look at the sword that she's holding. That's like they made everything as real as possible. And then kind of like the visual CGI stuff was
The
really
character
odd
you're
to me.
showing too, Jared Hess voices, and it's a very fun voice performance in the movie.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of fun and creativity, and that's what the movie's all about, is embracing your creativity. And I just love this offbeat world. What'd you think about like this combination of like Hess's humor, the visual style? Was this way too weird to see on the big screen, or were you just like, this is just like I expected?
No, no. I think that going into it, I knew that he directed it, so I knew, that Napoleon Dynamite brand of humor, and so I feel like I kind of went in expecting that. So it met my expectations. I'm sure there are people that went in thinking they were just going to get more traditional comedy and didn't realize they were going to get the quote. I hate using the term like dumb comedy because it's like, I guess more silly comedy is probably better, more appropriate. That maybe they aren't expecting that because there are a lot of like very silly jokes, but I laughed a couple times. We're getting into the territory of like needing to talk about the screening and reactions because you
We'll get
went to
there.
a
We'll get
press
there for
screening.
sure.
Okay, I won't jump the gun then.
We'll get there because it's the next thing right there. But real quick, like what I'm showing now, a lot of that's like practical right there, which is wild. With obviously some CGI enhancements, probably blue screen and stuff like that. But everything just looks like you can grab it. It's awesome. Like everything's realistic to me, even though it's a weird world that they're showcasing. Yeah, I went to a press screening with the audience, and the audience that we have here is a little odd. But I've seen stuff online. Stuff online. Drew, you have to tell me how your reaction was. But I do want to bring this up because what's going viral on social media. First of all, there's a lot of memes in here in the movie or in catchphrases that obviously I'm not aware of, but I'm catching them as I see them on social media, and I'm loving it. I wish I was like a 10-year-old Minecraft fan watching this movie, having the first time watching it. And Chicken Jockey seems to be making a viral sensation throughout the world. And Drew, when this came up, how packed was your theater? What was, the demographic of kids in there, of ages? And yeah, tell us how it happened. What happened there?
Yeah, so I I rarely go to the movies these days on a Saturday night. I have kids, family. I try to go on like Thursdays or Sundays, or like I just tend to try to go when it's least crowded. But the way it worked with my schedule this week is like I went to an 8 o'clock p.m. Saturday night screening that was almost sold out. Like it was a packed house, people of all different ages, but there were a lot of like kids and teens in the theater. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, this is great. Good thing for the movies. I will say, well, I'll get into the box office part of it
Yeah,
later.
we'll get to the box office right after this for
But
sure.
I just it was very full. And early on in the movie, there were a couple things that to me went either over my head or had no meaning to me that people applauded. And I was like, okay, I am in a theater full of fans. And even stuff that was in the trailer and like, but when it happened in the movie, when Jack Black first shows up and he says, I am Steve, like people cheered and applauded. There was a moment where, like, sorry if this is, I don't think that it's really spoilers. It's like, it has nothing to do with the plot. It's just like a thing. Like at one point, they're in the village with the villagers and there's a pig with the crown on. And they, so the one character is like, is that pig? Is it a king? And then Jack Black's character, Steve, says, no, he's no king. He's a legend. And like people erupted in my theater, applauded and screamed. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. I have found out now after the fact of doing my research that apparently this was a tribute to a popular streamer, a Minecraft streamer who sadly passed away. I had no idea seeing that in the movie. And then, as you mentioned, the chicken jockey got a huge reaction. Now, not like what you've seen on TikTok or social media. People were not throwing popcorn or causing riots or anything like that in the theater, but they were very excited. And, for me, I would just be like, this is apparently something from the game. That's all that I knew. So yeah, this is the first time I've taken my wife to many a Marvel movie. And there are things that happen that she does not get. And I'm like, oh, I'll lean over to her and be like, this character is X from the comics, or this, that's why people are excited. And she's like, oh, okay, got it. That was me. I was in the position of my wife for this movie, but I didn't have somebody next to me to be like, this is why they're cheering. So like all that stuff just went totally over my head. And all I could think though, like it didn't upset me. I wasn't mad. I was like, I'm glad that they're having a good time, because that's what matters here, right? This stuff might not resonate with me, but like the fact that there's so many people in here having a great time here at the movie theaters on opening weekend, that's what matters.
Exactly. And there was a big mixed response from critics and influencers about this film. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what people say online, because this movie did crazy well. As I pull this up, um, let's
The
see.
same thing happened with Super Mario Brothers. A lot of critics kind of tried to pan that too, and then it made over $1 billion. And this movie is going to make $1 billion. Like it's going to happen.
Look at this worldwide total, $313 million. That is just wild to see. Where I think it was predicted to make only 150 globally, I believe, maybe. Or
This movie has been extremely interesting to chart from a box office perspective, because early analysts had it at like 50 to 60 or 60 to 70 million opening weekend. And when I heard those initially, I was like, yeah, I guess that feels right, because even though Minecraft is a huge video game property, it didn't feel like there was a palpable excitement in the air for this movie. And however, if you'd asked me a year ago, like, hey, they're making a Minecraft movie, is it going to do well? I'd be like, yeah, it'll make $1 billion, because Minecraft's one of the best selling, if not the best selling game of all time. Like it's huge. This game has sold millions upon millions of copies. It's incredibly popular. Making a movie of this property is a no-brainer. And we all should have known that this was going to happen. But for whatever reason, it seemed like there wasn't as much buzz. And then it was like after the previews and after the Friday where it made a ton of money Friday, all the estimates just continued to increase. I have to admit, I was shocked that domestically this movie outperformed the Super Mario Brothers movie, which ended up being, the highest grossing movie. Was it the highest grossing movie of its year of 2023?
It's the biggest so far for 2025.
Yeah, but
Biggest
I'm talking about
opening.
Mario. Did Mario end up being the highest grossing film
for that year
of
That's a good-
2023, or was it Barbie?
I think it ended up being Barbie. I think Barbie dethroned it, but I could be wrong on that.
Regardless, this movie now making more than Mario did and having the best opening weekend for a video game movie.
And look at this right here. So yeah, it's the biggest right here, followed by Sonic the Hedgehog, which I think originally had the biggest opening weekend. I don't think why is not
I was going to say
why-
this list can't be right because Mario
why is
is
Nintendo? Yeah,
above it.
where is Mario on there? But this is also domestic. So, and also probably why Mario opened up on a Wednesday or something. It opened up on early week. So I don't think they consider it part of this on the opening. Let me see if I can find
Oh, that's right. It did open on a Wednesday. I remember that. Yeah, it was a 5-day.
See.
Oh, Barbie did outgross Mario for what it's worth.
But this, yes. That's where it's opening here. Let me see.
I'm also doing some
quick pull
research.
up some numbers. But it's saying lifetime gross so far domestically. And as you can see already, I mean, it is breaking records for video game adaptation.
Mario made $574 million in the US and Canada, $787.1 million in other territories. First film based on a video game to gross $1 billion, highest grossing animated film of 2023, second highest grossing film of 2023 after Barbie. Became the highest grossing film based on a video game after just 1 week of release. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, obviously that movie was huge, and Minecraft has now opened bigger than that. And it does kind of seem like it has the runway. It's going to make a lot of money next weekend too, and probably will continue to do so until like what's the next big release? Thunderbolts, which is not until May.
So we're not thinking this is going to fizzle out. We're thinking this is going to carry throughout the month. Pretty strong.
No, I think that this is going to make $1 billion, the box office. And I wouldn't have thought that when we were talking box office either last week or the week before, talking about what movies coming out this year do you think have the potential to make $1 billion? I don't know if I had Minecraft on the list, and I think now it's very likely going to.
Well, just look at this one. Like, this is what the opening weekend looked like, what it was competing with, and look at the big jump. Like, there's nothing even close. Where sometimes some films are not head to head particularly, but like very close of being head to head. But like this one's not even, nothing's even in its way.
And it's like Minions: The Rise of Gru. Like, remember when that had the memes and the trends of like gentle minions and people going in suits to see it? Like, now Minecraft has that. Like the crowd reactions and the riots, like people literally having to be escorted out of the theater by police because of the reaction to the movie. Like, that's not a good thing that happened. Like, granted, I don't want anybody to get hurt, or like if I had paid for a ticket to that movie and been in that theater, I probably would have been very upset. But at the end of the day, it's trending on TikTok. Like, it's being memed. It's people, the people that have already gone to see it, a lot of them that loved it are going to go see it again. This is a movie that it doesn't matter what the critics think. It's what the kids think, and the kids love it. So they're going to want to go see it again. Like, yeah. And that's how you make $1 billion at the box office, is you bring in audiences and then bring them in that they want to come see it again.
And they're going to come back for this scene.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back for some chicken
This
jockey.
little zombie child riding a chicken that incites riots will get people to come back to see this movie again. It's wild. And this kind of got me into like a bigger thought, Sean, and I'm sorry not to delay the episode any longer, but it's just true. Like, you and I are in like the prime we grew up in that prime video game age, right? Like we were 90s kids. So there were, there's a big 80s video game boom, but and a lot of those games were still around when we were kids. I was playing Mario, we had an Atari, like those things were part of my childhood, but then we grew up playing video games like the peak time of console evolution and Nintendo and Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis and the N64 and the PS2 and the PlayStation, all those things. So really every single video game movie up to this point that has been released has either been for me or for a generation that maybe is a little bit older than me. But like
That's true.
typically for us, Minecraft is the first one to come out that I feel like is truly like, okay, this is the video game movie for the people.
That's not for
younger
us.
than us. Five Nights at Freddy's was kind of this too.
True.
I was familiar with that one too. I hadn't really played it. I just knew it was like an iOS game originally, and I knew the general concept, but like that's not one that really I played or resonated with me either. And that movie did surprisingly well on a pretty low budget too, and it was critically panned pretty hardcore. So it just goes to show like these younger gamers that grew up with these games like Five Nights at Freddy's or Minecraft are gonna show up for these movies regardless of how they're reviewed critically, and they're gonna have a good time. And so it's kind of crazy because it's like, what does this mean now for future video game movies or even future movie franchises in general, not even limited to video games? It's like,
no, just future movies for this younger audience. This is something that they need to figure out. And we've talked about this. There's not enough kids movies. There's not enough PG movies. Surprisingly, this movie has the PG-13 audience because the teenagers also, then preteens love Minecraft and the younger kids. And so they need to know that's really the money making there. Five Nights at Freddy's killed it because it's a PG-13 movie. So you had all those teenagers and preteens running the movie theater to watch this. There's a lot of reasons Snow White didn't make a lot of money, but like Snow White is definitely like a baby movie if you think about it. It's a movie for like young like like preteens and teens are not going to go watch Snow White. That's not their movie, regardless of how how iconic that story is and stuff like that. Super Mario Brothers, Pokemon movies, the Legend of Zelda movie when it comes out, I think will be a big hit.
I think you're right.
So it's kind of like this 8 to 16-year-old range.
Yep.
Is where you're going to make big money at the box office.
Yep.
Big, like explosion wise, because they'll grab their friends. They want to bring their friends along and everyone else to go watch it. They like to watch it in the big group setting. So we're not the ones that are making money at like Barbie. I'm sure Barbie had a big age range of young kids wanting to watch that as well. And
right. Barbie was unique because it was bringing in like young female audience, but also like the older ones who, were nostalgic and yeah, it brought in a wide range of audience.
So we're definitely going to see maybe a shift on how they approach some of these movies and understand what's making big numbers now. If you want to hit the $500,000 to $1 billion mark, you got to go to that audience. And that's like the 8 to 16-year-old crowd. They're the ones that are telling mommy and dad to give us some money for popcorn and movie tickets and go enjoy this movie. And let's go watch it again the next weekend, I guess, too, is what they wanted to do. And I'm pretty sure this will be very good when it comes out on like digital and Blu-ray and stuff like that. But I can't believe it. Minecraft is on its way to be it's already the biggest hit of 2025 and it's not done yet. And it's just the opening weekend.
Guarantee you we'll get the story in the next week or so that's like a Minecraft movie 2 has been greenlit. Like, of course, like this is a franchise now. This is going to happen. There's going to be more of these, just like we're going to get another Mario movie next year with Jack Black reprising the role of Bowser in that. We'll get another Minecraft movie in another 2 or 3 years from now with Jack Black returning in that. Like he's the king of the video game movie franchises right now.
That was true. And I'm just going to say right there, I love Detective Pikachu. Where is another Pokemon movie? What is going on? Come on. That's also a franchise that's making so much money outside of film with all the cards and the video games and everything else. So maybe this is a nudge to some of those people that have these IPs is start making some of these video game movies and bring in that crowd, because you'll make some good money. That's for sure. And it's good for theaters. And this is what it's all about, heading to the theaters to watch this. I'm glad this is something Drew and I could watch almost at the around the same time, so we could jump on this. Um, yeah, I can't believe a brand new cinematic universe that's being birthed over this Minecraft movie is wild, and we're definitely gonna get. Oh, there is an end credit scene. I guess we won't spoil it, but I mean, I didn't really know who it was when it popped up, and I had to go Google it. But I guess it's another prominent character that showed up in the end credit scene. How did that theater react?
A lot of people had left. Honestly, there weren't that many people around, but the people that were there clapped and cheered at that too. So again, like you said, it must have meant something.
Yeah, we'll see if how soon they'll greenlit it. But yeah, there you go. That is Minecraft for you. That is a working man for you. And there's plenty more movies coming out. It's only April, and we're gonna have some fun episodes coming up soon. And I know we're gonna tackle some summer movies very soon once we get that, and we'll get that scheduled so y'all can have a heads up of when that will be live. And we're gonna have some fun stuff planned for y'all. But once again, we really appreciate y'all joining in for the Moviegoers Society podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. You're following Drew and I on our socials. You're checking nerdtropolis.com. I have some really great interviews coming up. I already have great interviews up on the site already. I know Devil May Cry anime series on Netflix, so I do have a fun interview with the showrunner and the voice actors. But ready to go back to theaters, Drew. There's more to see, more popcorn to eat, and find some new candies to try. What's your go-to at the movies?
Ooh, I mean, popcorn, of course, but I'm a big Sour Patch Kids fan during movies, or peanut M&Ms.
That's a good one. Once again, thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Moviegoers Society, and like we always say, we will see you at the movie.